The Life, Legacy, and Death of Eleanor of Castile, 1290. Introduction. Eleanor of Castile, Queen Consort of England and wife to Edward I, remains a significant figure in medieval English history. Her life was marked by her role as a supportive and influential queen, her contributions to culture and governance, and her devotion to her family. When she died in 1290, it was not only a personal loss to her husband but also an event that reverberated across the kingdom. Edward's unprecedented act of erecting the Eleanor Crosses immortalized her in both stone and memory, ensuring her legacy endured. This essay comprehensively explores Eleanor's early life, her role as a queen consort, the circumstances of her death, and the profound impact she had on English history and culture. Eleanor of Castile, Early Life and Marriage. Background and Heritage. Eleanor of Castile was born in 1241 to Ferdinand III of Castile, later canonized as Saint Ferdinand, and Joan of Ponthieu, a noblewoman of French lineage. Her father's achievements during the Reconquista, where he expanded Castilian territories by recapturing lands from Muslim rulers, elevated Eleanor's position in medieval Christendom. Her mother's ties to France further emphasized Eleanor's role as a potential diplomatic bridge between powerful European kingdoms. Eleanor's childhood in Castile was one of privilege but also one that prepared her for the demands of royalty. Castile at the time was a flourishing cultural hub, and Eleanor was likely exposed to its traditions of art, architecture, and literature, elements she would later introduce to England. Marriage to Edward I. In 1254, Eleanor married Edward, heir to the English throne, as part of a strategic alliance between Castile and England. The marriage took place in Burgos, with Eleanor just 13 years old and Edward 15. This union was intended to secure mutual support between the two kingdoms and strengthen Edward's position in Europe. While many royal marriages of the time were purely political, Eleanor and Edward developed a deep and genuine affection for each other. Their partnership was characterized by trust, respect, and mutual support, a rarity among medieval royal couples. Eleanor brought not only her noble lineage but also her sharp intellect and administrative abilities to the marriage, proving herself an invaluable ally to Edward. Eleanor's role as queen consort. A political and administrative partner. Eleanor was not content with the traditional ceremonial role of a queen. She actively participated in the governance of the kingdom, particularly in managing Edward's extensive land holdings. Her involvement in estate administration demonstrated her financial acumen, and her efforts helped to stabilize the royal finances during periods of economic strain. One of Eleanor's most notable contributions was her role in the acquisition and management of lands in Wales after Edward's campaigns to subdue the region. She worked diligently to integrate these new territories into the English kingdom, establishing her reputation as an effective administrator. Contributions to art and culture. Eleanor was a patron of the arts and a promoter of Castilian culture in England. Her influence can be seen in the introduction of new architectural styles, particularly the Gothic designs that became popular during her time. Buildings and monuments sponsored by Eleanor often featured intricate stonework and a blend of English and Castilian artistic elements. In literature, Eleanor supported writers and poets, helping to foster a vibrant intellectual culture at the English court. Her appreciation for books and manuscripts also influenced the royal library, leaving a lasting cultural impact. Family and personal life. Eleanor and Edward had 16 children, though many did not survive infancy, reflecting the harsh realities of medieval life. Among their surviving children was Edward II, who would later ascend to the throne. Eleanor's role as a mother was not merely symbolic, she was deeply involved in her children's upbringing, ensuring they were prepared for their roles in the kingdom. Her strong maternal instincts extended beyond her own children. Eleanor was known for her compassion toward others, often intervening in disputes and advocating for justice within her husband's realm. Eleanor's death and Edward's reaction. Circumstances of her death. Eleanor's health began to deteriorate in the late 1280s. In 1290, while accompanying Edward on a royal tour, she fell ill, possibly from a fever or complications related to her earlier pregnancies. She died on November 28, 1290, at Holby, a village near Lincoln. Her death at the age of 49 marked the end of a life dedicated to her husband, children, and the kingdom. Edward's profound grief. Edward I's reaction to Eleanor's death was extraordinary. His grief transcended the expectations of royal mourning and became a defining aspect of his personal life. Known as a stern and pragmatic ruler, Edward's emotional response revealed a softer, deeply human side. Edward ordered her body to be transported to Westminster Abbey for burial, a journey that became a public event of mourning and remembrance. Each stop along the route of the funeral procession was marked by ceremonies and prayers, emphasizing Eleanor's significance to the kingdom. The Eleanor Crosses, a testament to love and legacy. Purpose and design. To commemorate Eleanor, Edward commissioned the construction of 12 crosses at the resting points of her funeral procession, from Holby to Westminster Abbey. These crosses, known as the Eleanor Crosses, were elaborate structures crafted in the Gothic style. Each cross featured statues of Eleanor and intricate carvings that celebrated her life and virtues. The crosses were not merely memorials but also symbols of Edward's devotion to his wife. They reflected the ideals of courtly love, a concept that emphasized romantic loyalty and chivalry. Symbolism. The Eleanor Crosses were unparalleled in their time, blending religious and personal symbolism. They were expressions of Edward's grief and love but also served as a reminder of Eleanor's role as an ideal queen consort. The crosses linked her memory to the Christian ideals of piety and virtue, ensuring her commemoration resonated with both the monarchy and the people. Legacy of the crosses. Although many of the Eleanor Crosses were destroyed during the English Reformation, 3 remain intact, at Jedington, Hardingstone, and Waltham Cross. These surviving monuments are among the most significant examples of medieval art and architecture in England. They continue to attract interest from historians, architects, and tourists, serving as lasting reminders of Eleanor's influence. Eleanor's legacy in English history. Influence on Edward I's reign. Eleanor's partnership with Edward I was pivotal to his success as a ruler. Her administrative skills and political acumen strengthened his authority and helped to implement reforms that shaped medieval England. Her support during Edward's military campaigns, including the Crusades, underscored her role as a queen consort actively engaged in her husband's endeavors. Cultural and dynastic contributions. Eleanor's influence extended beyond her lifetime through her children, particularly Edward II, who carried forward the Plantagenet lineage. Her introduction of Castilian customs enriched English court culture, fostering an environment of sophistication and intellectual growth. Historical memory. Eleanor's legacy has been preserved through the Eleanor Crosses, her burial at Westminster Abbey, and the enduring image of her as an exemplary queen consort. Her life has inspired countless works of art, literature, and historical analysis, reflecting her significance as a figure who bridged personal devotion and political ambition. Conclusion. The life and death of Eleanor of Castile encapsulate the complexities of medieval queenship. As Queen Consort of England, she was a partner, mother, administrator, and cultural patron whose influence extended far beyond her lifetime. Her death in 1290 marked the end of a remarkable era, but Edward's act of memorialization ensured her legacy would endure. The Eleanor Crosses stand as timeless monuments to her memory, symbolizing the love and respect she inspired. Through her life and contributions, Eleanor of Castile remains a figure of enduring historical significance. Thanks for listening. Like, comment, and subscribe to Medieval Chronicles 1066 for more journeys back to the Middle Ages. Stay curious.